Okay guys, so I'm started working on the Mustang here today. I'm pulling all the tail lights out. Gotta get all this shit off it before you work on it. Getting all the window trim off around there, as you can see. Front window trim. Getting all that off. We're gonna get into taking the you know, the end caps off. Next, off of here, these come off. So I thought you'd get a kick out of this. So I'm unbolted it inside. They unbolt inside if someone's uncertain, you can't see, but they unbolt on the inside of your chunk. So I'm going to pull this off and you can see, look at the body filler. Let's just do this right here. So someone at one point has welded on this car. Look at this body filler. So this is body filler right here. It ain't gonna matter because we're redoing this car for the customer. Let's get that off of there. There you go, look how thick that is. So here's my question. I've seen people put body filler on here to match up with these because they sit too high. I've seen people put body filler on here to match up to this because this sits too high. But this has got filler, and if you look, this one's got filler on top. But yet, if you actually look, the line lined up fine. Look at that. It lined up fine, but they body filled it. This is what happens to body filler too. You see how the metal begins to rust? This begins to rust, and then it starts to blister and peel off. So, just wanted to show you that. And come around here. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be pulling all this side glass out of here. So I may be turning this video into a quick little how-to, and we'll give you instructions on how to get side glass and vent windows out of a 67 Mustang. Now, so I'm going to grab some tools and I will continue filming. Actually here, we'll get in here right now. So obviously, the first thing you need to do is you need to see, you've obviously got to get your door panel off, your handles, your door panel, which is already off. You got some bolts here, okay? So by the looks of it, to me, it looks like they're all 1/2-inch bolts. So it looks like you're going to grab your 1/2-inch socket. Yep, looks like everything is 1/2-inch from what I can see here. So we're going to grab a 1/2-inch socket, not a wrench. A socket's going to work better. Can't really get a wrench in here when the metal's dipping down. We're going to grab that and we're going to start unbolting stuff. Now sometimes you have bolts that are up in here too. I'll have to move this car back and get this door open a bit more so we can see what's going on. Okay, so we'll grab some tools, we'll move the car back, and we will continue on. Okay, let me try to explain to you what I've done here to make it easy. Okay, I've got everything laying on the floor because it's impossible for me to film this and do it at the same time. But anyway, we'll try our best. Okay, so this little bracket right here that you see, okay, that would bolt in your door this on there from the back side, going behind the door, bolts in like that. What that does is that rides on this track on your window regulator. So what I did first was I took the two nuts off of this piece on this side, took this piece off. What am I going to do next? I'm going to grab the two nuts I took off and put them on there and mark left side, driver's side, whatever you want to call it, that it goes there. You can figure that out on your own common sense. Next, there's the 4 bolts that hold that, and there's also this track. But what I did here next was I undid these 4 bolts. They bolt on the door here and here, okay? So I unbolted those, and what happens is, see these ones here on the opposite side, which when this is in the door, faces in the door like that, faces out because there's your window regulator, and those knob things face in. They slide along inside of this track on your window. So what I did was I undid that 4 bolts. Then I was able to slide this thing because it was no longer bolted on no more. Because remember, we've undone this one because it was on this piece. Now I've undone the bolts. I was able to slide this like that, and it slid off the window and it dropped down to the bottom of the door. Then I held the window up, and you know, you probably need 2 people, but 1 person can do it. Held the window up, and I wiggled that whole mechanism, this here, out through there. That got that out of the way. Next, you've got this piece right here, which is your end track. Now it goes in the door, if you can imagine. It is inside. If you look right there, that's where that kind of lines up like that, coming from the back side, of course. And then it also bolts in. See the bolt right there? You have to go through the door, through there, and see. Can you see in there? Where am I going here? I don't know if you can see this or not. There it is. If you see right there, it bolts onto that. And now, keep in mind, watch how this door's notched out. So you unbolt this piece next, and what happens when you unbolt this piece again, it has a track here where my thumb is running. That piece, unfortunately for this gentleman, this knobby thing, which are just whatever bent on, it broke off. But this sits in here, slides down on that like that. And your window, that's your support brace in the back. So once I undid the bolts, I was able to slide this out of the door. Once that is out, you take your whole window out, and this is all one piece. These are usually glued in. As you can see, his window, it's been so many years, it's coming apart. This is good though, but this is still solid. You just pull this double-sided tape out, clean it up, put some good rust paint in there, take it down to a glass shop, they seal it back up for you, so there's nothing wrong with that. It's not all rusted out, it's in good shape, we can save that. But anyway, that's all one unit. It comes out and it slides up to a certain height, and then it pulls back through here. That is why this has this opening. The window pulls back through there, because see the depth of that piece on the back? And see how it's got like these wheels and all that? That has to come through here, because it will never come through the top, because the top's not wide enough here. This gap is not wide enough, so it comes through here. So now you slide that window kind of up on an angle out, and there you go. Now your window's out. So hopefully that made some sort of sense, even if you pick up on one thing on it. So next is our vent window. Now our vent window, what I'm going to do here next is I'm going to start removing it. I've already taken the nuts off. Nut off there. There's a nut down there. This is a big bolt that goes in there, which is this bolt right here. Then you've got the next lower size in bolt. It goes up in there. Now if you notice, these in there have an Allen head on. And what that is that's adjustment to get this window to sit at the right, angle when you're putting it back together. We're taking it apart, so we're not going to worry about that right now. But I'm going to turn those and turn them in a bit so I can get this window out, because when I'm trying to pull the window out right now, what's happening is these things are getting caught in behind. So I'm going to soak them with a little bit of spray, turn them in, and hopefully this window is just going to pop right out like that. So we'll go get some spray, we'll soak them, and we'll see what happens here. Okay guys, so to end this video off, we have got the vent window out of the vehicle. So the only thing that's holding the vent window in, like I say, you had a bolt here. You have another bolt that goes through here and attaches, if you can see, it goes through up inside the car in there. That's your long bolt looking like this. So I've set the bolts back in like you should. Now, anyway, I'm jumping ahead here. In this spot down on the door, and in this spot in the door is, whoops, it's taken off on me, is this Allen key thing. What I mean by Allen key is, if you can see, it's got an Allen key head. This is adjustment, like I said earlier, for the window to go lean in, lean out, which obviously controls how your side glass fits. So what I did was I took, they have a nut that goes on there first. So this here piece, this washer piece, goes on the back side. If you can visualize this, you can see my hand in here. They go on the back side, the washer here. And the Allen head would stick through, and this would go on this side. And then you would turn this either way to adjust how the window's going to lean in and out. So, take the nut off. And actually, sometimes you can get away with screwing these in and the window will pull out of the track, but I actually had to take these out. And these just come out very simple. I soaked them in some oil and they just spin right out. There you go. And don't worry about worrying, you know, I mean, you can, don't worry about it, if you don't mark where it was. You can kind of see on everything, if you look at the bolts, see how that's nice and shiny clean, that's all rusty? That's how I know that's where it roughly was. If you look at. So it gives me a starting point when I go to put the windows back in for adjustment. But then, anyway, so that's out. Then basically your window just slides right out through here, your vent window comes out. So there you go. Hopefully, that was definitely not the best way to show you how to do this. It would be way better if I'd been filming this the whole time and then was explaining it as I went along, but hopefully you'll pick up on that and you'll figure that out, even if there was just one tip there. I guess the biggest tip I can give you in the end is what I'm doing right now, is put all the bolts and nuts back where they came from, so when you go to pick it off the shelf that you know where it goes. So that's what we'll do. And then we label everything, you know, even though it's common sense, this is the driver's side or left side, whatever you want to say, I'll still label it. So that's it. There you go. That is how we're pulling glass out of a 67 Mustang today. Okay, remember, it's always a good time and old time, and we'll see you next time.